Alright, so today I'm studying the Fool card. I have 4 Fools before me. And something I noticed that's interesting is I have 2 Fools that are characterized by clearly black characters with darker skin. And both of the cards that they're on are bigger than the other 2 cards. So today I'm using the Black Tarot, the Tarot of the Orishas, the Ananda Tarot, and the Pulp Girls Tarot deck. So as you can see, these characters are clearly smaller. These cards, at least, are clearly smaller than these, and I just think that's interesting. So, you know, pre-observations, right? Just like the sizing of the cards is interesting. So with that being said, the Fool is a sacred character in the tarot. The Fool is one of the major arcana, which are cards that indicate like the major characters in the tarot. So for example, the Empress, all of the, no, yeah, the Empress and the Emperor, the, some of the Magician, some of the more like spiritual leaning cards are the cards that talk about our subconscious, our superconscious, our conscious state. Those cards are considered major arcana, and the Fool is actually the first card in the major arcana. So that's one of the reasons that I really appreciate the Fool. The Fool has been through an entire journey, and they're back at the beginning. So if you've ever heard people say things like, that baby's been here before, or babies be knowing, right? Like babies who come out smiling, or like they'll react to things that's like, you've never been here, you just got to Earth. Like, how did you even know to react to that, right? It's because babies, or the Fool character, the character who just arrived, has already been through the entire cycle, and they're returning, right? You don't necessarily need to believe in reincarnation to be able to understand the concept. It's really about being first on the scene doesn't mean that it's your first time experiencing life, okay? And, you know, we can think about it even as simple as babies spend 9 months to 10 months in the womb before they emerge on Earth, typically. And in those months, they're still experiencing things, just not the same way, in the same material way that we do on a daily basis. So one thing that I love about the Fool is the Fool is playful. The Fool, as you can see, the Fool's holding a card, like playing with the world here, almost like a ball. Like it's just like trusting and enjoying the process. The Fool also has like fun clothing on, meaning that it's willing to try different things. It's willing to have fun, like use their imagination to create what they hope to see in the material world. The Fool in the Black Tarot is beautiful because it has angel's wings, and it's also having 1 foot on the ground and 1 foot stepping out onto water. The Fool card is about trust. So the same way that a baby goes out onto the playground and, you know, plays in sand, throws it up into the air, doesn't mind, like isn't worried about whether or not the sand's gonna get in their eyes, isn't worried about getting, you know, small scrapes, bruises, and cuts on the playground. They're just trusting that they're about to have a great time with their friends. The Fool is about trusting. In the Black Tarot, this reminds me of the story of Jesus walking on water in the Bible, and this Fool trusts that he has envisioned what his journey is going to look like, and he trusts that when he takes a step either onto water or toward his ambitions and his goals, that he is going to be supported by spirit, okay? And that's why I love that he has these angel wings. In the Tarot of the Orishas, my deck is in Spanish. I got it in Mexico. I was gifted it in Mexico, rather. And the Fool in Spanish is El Expulsado. This Fool is beautiful to me because there's a flower in the Fool's mouth. And I just think that's lovely because it's about trusting the journey, but not just trusting, but also really enjoying what it feels like. The Fool in Spanish, the Spanish word for fool is kind of like the reject, or the pariah, if you will. This person is someone who's not always accepted by society, but they embrace that strangeness or weirdness, or, you know, expelledness about themselves, because it's fun and because it allows them to create and be playful and really enjoy the process. I think sometimes when we are just like dealing with our day-to-day lives, we kind of get into the humdrum of like, this needs to get done, now this needs to get done, now I need to pick this thing up, I need to take this thing somewhere, and we kind of lose the fun of just being alive. And the Fool card is about like, when you're going through that thorny bush, grab a rose and take it with you as like a souvenir that you got through this like bushy, like unclear path. Or, you know, take a rose just to like give yourself a little life. I wanted to come read tarot today. I just wanted to study these cards, and I decided to just trust that if I came to a place that I like, this beautiful space where I'm surrounded by plants, I would have a great time. I'm hearing music, I'm having people stop asking for readings, and I'm also just learning a lot and really being able to listen to my gut, which I'm so grateful for. So that's another reason that I love the Fool, is that when you trust and when you kind of envision what you're hoping for and you trust that the universe will respond, you do sort of get the results that you want. It may not come the same way you think it will, but there are always results. Every action has a reaction, right? So let's look at this final card. This is from the Pulp Girls Tarot deck, and it's more of, all the drawings are more traditional, like they relate more to the original. I want to say it's Rider-Waite tarot, but I'm not sure. But all of the drawings are very similar to the original, like mainstream tarot that we are typically exposed to. They're not, you know, they're not as creative, I guess, or different as these other tarot decks that I have. But this traditional Fool is very also similar to the tarot of the Orishas Fool, in the sense that there's one foot on the ground and one foot about to step off of a ledge. And they both have an animal companion. And so animal companions are important in tarot and also just in spirituality in general, because if you've ever seen the movie Coco, there are alebrijes, which is like your spirit guides. And we know that Dante the dog is I can't remember, Miguel's alebrije in the spirit world. And so our animal companions, they're our mirrors, they're reflectors. If you have a pet, or if you even have plants, if you're a plant parent, you may notice that like when you're not feeling well, or when you're emotionally unwell, or just like feeling sick, maybe your sinuses are acting up. It's definitely that season right now. So take your antihistamines, eat your ginger, your turmeric, all that. But you may notice that like your plants and animals around you are also reflecting maybe different behaviors, or maybe they're a little droopy, like not as alive as we tend to be or tend to hope for. And so our animal companions are our reflectors, and they are also indicators that we need to trust. Animals are more, literally, they're closer to the earth than we are. They're smaller, they're closer to the ground, their feet are on the ground more. So they're just more in tune with, like, I want to say like the circadian, I don't even know what words I'm using right now, but they're just more in tune with like the magnetic energy of the universe, and know like what is necessary for forward motion, for forward living. Animals don't get caught up in like, this bill's due, this thing's due at work, this coworker, this project is getting on my nerves, right? So it's important that we not only trust ourselves, but we also trust that our environment is giving us the messages and the clues that we need in order to proceed into prosperity by trusting ourselves, all right? This Fool is also holding a flower similar to the Fool in the Tarot of the Orishas. And she also has a very, very small bag, very also similar again to Tarot of the Orishas. I think the Orisha deck is actually pretty similar to the typical tarot deck as well. When I say typical, I really just mean mainstream. It just has a few extra cards that are actually Orishas, that are not reflected in. Ooh, this playlist is so good. Come on, they playing Solange in here. Anyway, both of these Fools have a very small bag. They're not bringing a lot because you can't have a lot of baggage when you're going on your journey of trust. You only need the essentials. You need maybe a small companion. You need a piece of nature to remind you that your environment is what you need to listen to. Your heart, your gut is what you need to listen to. And then just your few essentials, like what's going to keep you hydrated, what's going to keep you motivated, what's going to help you express yourself on the way that maybe you can't find in like the regular environment, right? Material possessions are not the focus when you're on a path of trust, when you're on a journey of trusting. These Fools here, from the Ananda Tarot and the Black Tarot, they have nothing with them. They have nothing with them. all they have is their imagination and the trust and love in their heart, and knowing that whatever they commit to, whatever they aspire to, they can bring it into the material world. I think the last thing I want to say about the Fool is that this is very baby-like energy. So the Fool and the Magician in the tarot are very similar. The difference between the Fool and the Magician is the Magician has the knowledge because the Magician has been in the material world long enough to know that, oh, if I trust and I ask for it and I take action for it, I can have it. Like the Magician literally knows that as a fact. The Fool doesn't have that knowledge yet because the Fool is just fresh on the scene. Like they just got back. After we complete a cycle with the World card at the end of the tarot and we begin, that time, that liminal space between the end and the beginning is where we forget everything we've learned and we just take like major lessons that are going to help us on our journey. But we have to let go of that old baggage, right? We have to let go of those heavy bags that we ended the journey with in order to be able to start anew, right? Again, these Fools have nothing with them, and the other Fools have very small bags with them, right? If you've been on a long journey, you would imagine that you have more things, right? But again, the Fool is the beginning. So we forget everything that we've learned. We agree to new contracts, and the Fool trusts that whatever they put their heart into, whatever steps that they take, they're all stepping off on a ledge. This Fool doesn't even have anything to stand on, right? But it's all about trusting and proceeding with the childlike innocence and knowing that you're protected and that prosperity is ahead as long as you continue to trust and listen to your gut. So that is the Fool card. I hope that this gives you a little more hope if you're on a journey that requires some trust. It's very, very difficult to let go of our material things, the things that keep us like grounded, and allow just intuition to take the wheel. But it is also a very powerful step to take. And when you make a decision like that, your environment, the universe, spirit responds. I wish you all the best of luck, and I hope that you learned something useful that can help you on your journey of trust. Stay foolish.